Counter offers are in the air. They've always been part of wrapping up, tightening up a contract. There's some things you got to know if a counter offer comes in, or if you're selling a house and you respond to an offer and counter offer. There's some tactics we use to make sure you get the best deal. Using it as a strategy to make sure you get what you need when you sell your home, or if you're buying a home. And sometimes when you're buying a home in a seller's market, you don't get anything you want because the way the offer is shaped up, it's price, inspections, contingencies, when the seller is going to move out, meaning when you can move in, and all the associated costs involved. Home warranty, escrow, transfer fees, all these other things are all tied up in an offer. Now, so the way it works is offer is presented, and if the seller accepts it, then you're in contract. You're in escrow. If it's not everything you want, the seller will counter it and says, we accept this offer subject to whatever the terms that they need. I need to move on August 15th. And then it has to be very specific who's going to pay for the PITI or the monthly mortgage after the close. It's a lot of going back and forth, and sometimes you just have to make sure that everybody's in agreement before you move forward. Now, tactically, what happens if your house is on market, I don't know, 37 days, and you originally had it priced at 1.89 and now it's down to 1.699 and it's still not coming in, and then you get a lowball offer. So one in the hand is better than two in the bush. What are you going to do? And I'll present that to you saying I would just accept it, or maybe tighten up a couple little things, but the price is the price, because at the end of the day, sellers don't determine the price, the buyers do. And there's a pool of buyers out there, and once they've gone through your house and determined that it's too high for the condition, location, and market conditions, meaning comps, they're passing you on. And if it's on market for 37 days, that means you're overpriced based on those things. And when you get a lowball offer, that's one buyer is willing to do it. It's your side to decide if that's what you want or not. And yes, you have the right to counter it. Now, when you counter an offer, the buyer can respond one of three ways: yes, no, or let's meet in the middle. That's where negotiation comes in. That's where ego and hubris come together. That's where 99% of the houses that don't sell is because of ego, seller ego. They think their house is worth more than what it really is. And again, sellers don't determine the price, buyers do. When you overprice it, you hurt yourself. Your house sits on market for a long time, you lower the price, and then one buyer comes in with a lowball offer. Then you get pissed off at your agent because they're not doing their job. You see the problem here? The best way to make sure that you get everything you want. I need to move out on August 16th. I want as-is sale. I want no repairs. Attract as many buyers, get as many offers as you can, because anything more than two, you're in the driver's seat. Now you can go back and negotiate. I have 5 offers in hand. This is my highest best price. I can go back as a listing agent and negotiate with the other buyers, say, can you match it? Can you beat it? And that's how we negotiate. The problem is I have 2 of the same model coming up, and this person's sticking around with price, ego. My house is worth this much money. If you remember looking at it, you can go back to it tomorrow and take a look. I'll put that link in today's blog. When you overprice a house, all you're doing is hurting yourself. You say, I can wait for the right buyer to come along. All that is going to do is hurt you. And then you're going to get frustrated and desperate. And then you have desperation breath. And that just hurts the deal. That hurts you ultimately. So if you listen to your agent and get the offer done, and you get your price listed low, attract as many buyers. The buyers know. They will look at the CMAs, the comparable market analysis, and say, this house is listed at 1.6, but it's really worth 1.75. I better get it around 1.75 if I want to be competitive. They write an offer for 1.75. If you list it at 1.9, thinking, oh, my house is so much better, and you're ignoring the fact that you're on a busy street and you haven't updated the carpets or the bathrooms, your house is going to sit, because they're not going to look just at your house. They're going to look at 50 other houses and look at 5 to 10 and make a decision. I'm going to buy that house instead of this one because this one's overpriced. So how do you do this if you have one offer? You got to be careful. I wouldn't really worry about price. I would understand that I made a mistake in forcing my agent to list it high and say that I was willing to wait for the right buyer to come along. Are you willing to walk away from that deal as it's presented? Buyers know they have choices now. even though it's a seller's market, if they're looking at a house that's on market 37 days, they're going to throw in an offer and say, hey, take it or leave it. And if you come back with a counter offer, they might walk. If a counter offer is a good idea, yes, if you have 5 or 6 or 7 offers, you're in the driver's seat. But if you only have one offer because you overpriced it, I would say just take the offer or don't accept it at all and be done with it. But then you're wasting this time of the agent. This section of this episode is brought to you by the Home Inspection Checklist. If you haven't done so, please download this in the description. Download it and get you started with your honey-do list, and then we'll get started working.